Hey students, welcome back. This is Miss Patterson as well as Mrs. Felix, and we are coming at you live from our Coronacation at home, and we are stopping in to help you guys out at home as you guys tackle your lessons as well. So if you're on track, today should be March 24th that you are opening up Lesson 8, and our goal for this entire week is to be able to describe the setting as well as the events in a story. So that's what we're working on. But before we even dive deep, let's just set our minds around what we are actually trying to accomplish as a whole. So I want you to think about your day, what you've actually done so far today, where you've been, and the different events that you've gone throughout the day. So my example is, as I'm recording this, I'm currently sitting outside on my porch. The sun is going down. It's a little bit chilly, so I'm currently wearing a sweatshirt and some thick socks as well. So I'm telling you all of this information so that you all have a better understanding about the setting that I'm currently in right now. We're going to tackle that word in a little bit. So we're thinking about the setting. I also told you that I'm sitting outside, and what you can tell from me recording this video is that one of the events that I experienced throughout my day today was taking the time to record a lesson for you all. So now that we have a little bit of an idea, not too much, we're going to go deeper into it, but now that our minds are wrapped around what setting and events could potentially mean, we're going to jump in deeper and actually figure out the words. So if you look at the lesson here, we have Lesson 8 describing settings and events in stories. Our learning target, or our standard for the week, is that each of you are going to be able to use details to describe the settings and events in a story, because that's going to help you better understand the story as you read it. So that is our goal. Every single day this week, when you log on to iReady, every time when you open up your packet, our mind should be wrapped around how do the setting and the events in a story help us to better understand or better comprehend what's happening in our text. So if you all would please join along in your packets and read along with me. The beginning of this says, when you read a literary text, you learn about important things that happen to the characters, the problems they face, and the solutions that they come to. So let's pause right there. We already see two very important bold words this week that are going to be utilized time and time again. We have the word problem and solution. So we don't immediately see their definitions right after this in our text, because we don't have to have too many context clues, since you all, for the most part, understand what a problem is and a solution. But if not, we talk a lot in class, especially when we were working on our narratives, about a synonym to the word problem known as conflict. So a problem or a conflict is any time that there's tension in our story. Anytime that something goes wrong, it is not what the main character was looking for. So whenever you have a problem, no story is good unless you wrap it up. So you have to give it some sort of solution. You have to give it an ending. Let's continue reading. These are the story events. So events is our next bold word. That's another vocabulary word that we need to talk about and tackle. An event is anything that happens or anything that occurs throughout our story. So throughout my day, I not only talked to a lot of parents, but I also ate food. I also took a nap, and now I'm recording videos to assist you all. So those were 4 different examples of 4 different events or things that occurred in my day-to-day. Let's continue. You also find out about the settings, or where and when the events occur. So I hope that you guys are familiar with this term setting, because we've used it when we write our narratives. But not only that, you currently are in a setting. Our typical setting is in a classroom where we have desks, we have a whiteboard, we have access to all these different resources, because our setting is designed for learning. You might now be in a unique setting. You might be in your living room, you might be in your bedroom, or at someone else's house. You also could be sitting outside on your porch like me. But our setting has changed. So our setting, where and when these different events occur, it plays a major role, as we're going to see as we continue to dive through this standard this week. It says to get the most from a story, look for details about the story events, including the characters' actions and reactions, as well as their thoughts and feelings. So when we mention details, what we're really referring to are those different sentences throughout our story that add to the support of our events. Also look for details describing how a setting looks. and when and where the story takes place. Paying attention to these details helps you to make sense of what happens in the story. So we're going to learn a little bit more about this as we tackle these two photos that are down below. But prior to doing that, I just want you all to wrap your mind around the fact that the setting tells you where and when a story takes place. This is extremely important because the setting has an impact on dialect. We've learned that word before, how you talk. It also impacts the language that you speak, whether or not you are from China, whether or not you are from South Africa or from Brazil or from Georgia, determines how you speak. It also determines the clothing that you wear or that your character in a story will wear. So right now I'm wearing a sweatshirt because it's a little bit chilly outside. But if it was a hot day, I probably would be wearing some short sleeves. Or if it was the wintertime, I would either be wearing a coat or I would change my setting entirely because I probably wouldn't feel comfortable sitting outside on a porch during the winter. So we're going to use what we know about the setting as well as what we're learning about events, those different things that occur, to break down these two photos. So let's just first take some time, and I want you guys to look at the photos in front of you. There's a lot of different things that we can talk about in these photos. We can talk about the different details that we see just in general before we even break down into the setting or the event. We can just talk about what do we see in the photo. We then can go further in depth and tell what is the setting of the photo on the left and what is the setting of the photo on the right. And we can break it down even more to what event is going on in the photo on the left and what event is happening in the photo on the right. We're going to do this by pulling out our packets, and I would like for you all to follow along because we're going to use these images here to fill out this graphic organizer below. So if you are now on the next page with the graphic organizer, you should see a chart that says left photo and right photo. The left photo refers to this photo of the gentleman and potentially his son or just the younger youth that appear to be at the beach playing soccer. And the right photo refers to the one next to it where we have potentially a family outside in the snow and it looks like they might be making snowballs. I just gave you a lot of hints there, but we're going to back it up. Let's go back to this graphic organizer because together we are going to fill this out. So where it says details, it's looking for you to tell me what you see in the photo. Before we even get too in depth, what do you see? So I'm going to try the first one with you with this left photo. So what I would say that I see in these details, I very clearly see a man. I see a young boy. There's some sand, there's some water, some waves. It looks like it's daylight and I can very clearly see a soccer ball. I also see the details from their outfits. They're both wearing white. It looks like the younger gentleman might have on some khaki pants, but for the most part, they're wearing white. So I'm giving you details about what I can easily see looking at this picture. So that's what I would fill out in that box that says the left photo under details. I would put once again that there's a man, a boy, some sand, water, waves, daylight, and a soccer ball. The next section of this graphic organizer asks us to list what is the setting. So we know that we're all working on setting together. So I'm going to do this first one for you all, just in case some of us still haven't caught on just yet to what the setting could be. But when we talk about setting, we want to answer the questions, where and when is this story or is this photo taking place? Some other questions that you can ask yourself is, where are they? What time of the day is this happening? What time of the year could this be happening? So like what season could it be? What is the weather like? And then we'll ask ourselves a few other questions as we get to the events. But let's think about the setting. We just said, what time of the day is it? What time of the year is it? What season could it be? So let's try to answer those questions. The first one is, where are we? Just looking at this photo on the left side, I'm going to assume that they are at some fabulous beach, which I wish I could be at, but you know, I'm not taking my laptop to the beach. So right now I'm at home talking to you guys about these two that look like they're having a great time on the beach. So we have them on the beach. That's where they are. What time of the day do you think it could be? So look at the background. Do we see stars? Do we see the moon out? Do we see the sun? Look for those clues. So I would make an inference, I would make an educated guess that because it looks like a lot of sunlight and I can clearly see them, that this is probably the daytime. So this could either be early in the morning or in the mid-afternoon, but we're not at nighttime yet because I don't see the moon, I don't see any stars, I don't see night lights or things of that nature that would give me a clue that it could be the nighttime. The next question we wanted to answer is, what time of year is this? Do you think that this is the winter time? Do you think that this could be springtime, summertime, fall time? Think of those clues. Look at the sleeves that they're wearing. Are they long? Are they short? Are they barefoot right now, or are they wearing boots to cover up? If you said that it's probably summertime, you are 100% correct. And I already knew you guys were super smart, so I'm really proud of you guys for getting that right. So that's our setting for that first one. So in that box where it says setting, I would put that they're at the beach during the daytime. That's what I would write down here in my graphic organizer, is that they're at the beach during the daytime. The very last one says events. So what is happening in this photo? What are these two guys actually doing? So because I see a soccer ball, their eyes are looking at the soccer ball, their bodies are facing the soccer ball, I'm going to assume that the event that is happening in this photo is that a boy and a man are playing soccer together while they are on the beach. And that's what I would write in that very last box. A boy and a man are playing soccer together while they are on the beach. So if we break down this lesson, there are 3 parts in total. There's always a I do, where I show you or I model what this should look like. When we're in class, we have the opportunity to do a we do, where you guys help me to fill out that chart. But since we aren't together, now we're going to jump straight into the you do. So you can do the you do with your parents if you need some assistance, or if not, if you're feeling really confident, then I'm going to put it on you to do the right photo independently. So you're going to go through, pull out those details. Just tell me immediately, what do you see in this photo that is on the right side? So we're past the one on the beach. We're now at the other one. What do you see in that photo? And give me a good sentence that gives me the details of what you see. What are they wearing? Where are they? What time of day does it look like? What are they doing? Just give me those details. Throw them at me in a very nicely crafted sentence. After you finish telling me the details, the next thing on our graphic organizer says the setting. So it wants to know the place and the time that this photo is happening, or where and when is this event taking place. So go back up, look at those clues, look at everything that you see in that picture, really take it in, look for those details, look at the clothing that they're wearing, look at where they're standing or where they're kneeling. What is that they're in? Look at all those different things, because that's going to tell you where and when our story is taking place. Remember those questions that you can ask yourself. Where are they? What time of day do you think it is? What time of the year do you think it is? And what is the weather like in this photo? All of those questions are going to help you to answer what the setting in this picture is. Now, if you put the setting, the very last part is to put the event that is taking place in this photograph. So scroll back up to the photo. I know it's a lot of back and forth, but I just want to make sure that you all know exactly what I'm looking at, what I'm expecting you all to fill out as we go along. So the very last part says event for the right photo. So we're going to go back up here, and I want you to tell me the event. What is occurring in this photo? What are these 3 individuals currently doing? Give me a nicely phrased sentence that has swag, that starts with a capital letter, has the appropriate spacing in between it, is written neatly, it has the correct given punctuation, and tell me what is the event happening in this right photograph. If you've done it correctly, then your entire graphic organizer, excuse me for scrolling, I thought I had it prepared, but boom, just found it. Your entire graphic organizer should look like this one that is here on my screen at this time. So you should have the details for both the left and right photograph filled out. You should have put for the right photograph that it is a woman, some children, they're in snow, there's some trees, there's some daylight. So you're giving us the details that you see. For the setting, you should have said that they are at a snowy park, or maybe it's a backyard, but we know that it's daytime, And we're pretty positive that it's the winter because there's so much snow out there. And then for the last portion of your graphic organizer where it says events, you should have said that there is a woman and 2 children who are